We are on our way with the Newkirks to go to the famous Hinsdale House. We are 9 hours away from Maine right now, and we are going to be spending the night in a place that has reported demonic activity, but we're going in with the mindset of tabula rasa. So Greg gave us homework to come up with a mantra of what we want to accomplish tonight, and then 12 hours later we get these sigils and we're told to focus on our mantra and keep these in our minds.
After we arrived in Hinsdale, New York, we decided to meet with the Newkirks at the hotel to kind of brief about our biggest investigation yet.
So we are headed on part 2 of our road trip. What can you guys tell us about it?
I can tell you our personal experience with it. We drive by it all the time. So we have to take the highway that goes right by Hinsdale. We're always going, well, we should stop and see this place. We did stop once, and Dana had such a terrible feeling, she literally would not step foot from the driveway into the property.
And that says a lot.
I just felt compelled to like stay as far away from it as possible.
The very first time we came to the Hinsdale House, the feeling is a lot similar to some of the more intense locations that I've been to. The Church of the Damned is one of them. Penhurst Asylum is another one. It's a very overwhelming feeling, and it kind of actually makes you feel like turning around and running in the opposite direction.
And also, I was like, the second I approached the house, I was like surrounded by a swarm of flies, which was, you know, disturbing enough to begin with, but it was just an overwhelming feeling of like not wanting to go anywhere near it.
In the 70s, there was like a fractured exorcism, right? Like it failed. They tried to exorcise the house in general, which is unique in its own right, and it did not work. And now this is the pieces of the mistake they made. Is that correct?
So when I learned that we were going to be coming to the Hinsdale House, I was a little bit apprehensive, mostly because there are a lot of stories about this place, and it's really hard to separate fact from fiction here. There's a lot of rumors at Hinsdale about a fractured exorcism that took place back in the 70s. And a lot of people think that because that exorcism wasn't successful, that explains a lot of the negative activity that's going on in Hinsdale. Whether or not that fractured exorcism is fact, I can't really speak to that, but that is one of the most prevalent rumors about this place.
When we initially reached out about taking on the Hinsdale House, I know that Dan, the owner, was really adamant that we learn the truth about the place, because there are so many stories that float around this place, and sometimes the ones that aren't true are the ones that rise to the top because they're the scariest. You've got those stories about the exorcisms, and then you have all these stories about, supposedly there's like Native American remains that are in the backyard. There's strange stuff that's going on in the woods. People are always talking about the woods.
What I know about the woods behind Hinsdale and a lot of the land around Hinsdale in general is that that's where a lot of people get most of the negative vibes. Even some of the caretakers of the house don't believe that there's anything negative in the house, but that most of that negativity is coming from the forest behind the house. There's a lot of legends that that was a Native American ritual ground. So because of that, you know, maybe there's something that wasn't completed. Maybe it had something to do with the fact that there was an exorcism that was performed on this place and it didn't make the spirits on the grounds very happy. It could be any number of things.
It's in the middle of nowhere. There's really nothing up there. And for some reason, in the last 5 to 10 years, it's really risen to like a local and even national prominence. So there's tons of people there that are feeding into this place constantly.
Yeah.
And the prevailing idea is that whatever's there is demonic.
Right.
And I think that it's going to be interesting for us to go in and kind of see if we can cut through some of that
what
stuff.
you were saying in the car,
That's literally what she was saying in the car.
I don't necessarily jump on the demon train. I think that we all have an understanding in our mind that we process information with. If you were a little more black and white and you're not very open, you might be an angels and demons kind of a person, but that is not me. I don't go right to demon. As much as I love the Warrens and I think that they're a really important part of paranormal history, I was kind of eye-rolling at the fact that people were saying there were demons in this house.
I'm gonna bring it back a little bit. I will go in with an open mind, but I will keep my guard way the hell up. Whereas in the Middle Age, I kept it down so I could try to connect with what was there. Here, I feel like there's enough legends going into it that having a guard down could open up a possibility of trauma.
My guard's gonna be up so high tonight. Walking around in the graveyard last night looking for Bigfoot, the guard was up. Driving in the car with Carol for 7 hours, the guard was up. So tonight it's just gonna be another exercise in keeping yourself safe and keeping my teammates safe and keeping the crew safe. If the stories do turn out to be true about this place, it probably go south pretty fast.
And with that, being the Newkirks, you guys came with experiments and stuff to try?
We have something we've never done before that we want to try, and I don't want to spoil it right now. I gave you guys a little bit of homework.
Yep.
Dana and I kind of worked on something, and we'll put it in action when we get there. But I think that it could be a really great force of positivity, which I think this place needs.
So the homework that I gave the team was I asked them to distill their most positive affirmation, something that was almost a mantra to them when they would go investigate. I created sigils out of these mantras, and I told them to meditate on these sigils. They had a really long car ride to get here, so they should have had a lot of time to sit there and imbue these with all these really positive feelings.
Irrefutably, this is our most intense place that we're visiting with the knowledge up front. I'll say that other places have rocked us, but this is going up front. This is the place that we know will probably have the highest pre-rate score. With that, it's been 5 years for us. It's been longer for you guys. I think we know how to keep ourselves safe, up to a certain level. How do we keep our crew safe?
I think, and we've talked about this before. We've said this before when we first started talking, when we were talking about the Dybbuk box. Know that you're in charge, and don't be afraid to walk away when you feel things are getting kind of intense. If something starts to happen and you don't feel like you can deal with it, leave the house. If obviously it feels like the edge of the property is where that weirdness goes away, just walk outside.
I will probably do some type of protection. I didn't at the cemetery because, I don't know, I didn't feel like I needed to. I'm not gonna just throw everybody's evidence out the window and say that, everybody's experiences are wrong. I just think that we're calling them different terms. I'm definitely gonna keep my guard up but stay open and calm and approach in a kind of compassionate manner.
So let's do this.
Yes.
I'm ready. Let's go.
There are a lot of stories that come out of Hinsdale, and it's kind of an iconic haunted place. Everyone talks about it because the experiences that they have are so crazy. So really, I think that I would be most satisfied if we were actually able to kind of begin to form a theory about what is actually happening here. Why are people having these experiences? Why is the land making people feel this way? And how to kind of deal with that.
Hey, thanks for letting us come in. It's been a long drive and worth it.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
We've been looking forward to this for a while.
I've been fixing it up for you guys, so hopefully you'll get a lot of good stuff here. I came here as a paranormal investigator. I've been coming here for a long time, and I actually liked coming to the house because I had a personal experience here. When I found out that it was going to be torn down and burned down, I put my name in for a bid to try and save the property before it was sold. Went in and talked to the owner and kind of told him my passion for it, and allowed me to purchase it. So, you guys want me to give you a quick walk through the house?
Absolutely.
All right, come on in.
Just be gentle. It looks spooky.
There definitely is a darker entity here. There's a darker entity that will come out, and you'll feel it, because you'll be doing EVPs, or you'll be using some type of ghost spirit box and having conversations with the spirits that are in this house that need help. And then a heaviness falls over, and they just stop communicating. And then you're gonna start getting leave, go home, real dark, real raspy type of voice comes out. So this is the kitchen now. We've caught, in the past couple of months, we've had static cameras installed, and we've been streaming them online. My theory is have thousands of eyes on them as opposed to just a team. In the kitchen, coming right through the door, shadow figures, plain as day. We've also caught on these stairs, going upstairs, what looks like a human arm coming through the door.
Really?
Are the shadow figures regular? Is it like a residual, like they're coming home?
No, it's not residual. It's yeah, because we've looked at other videos of at the same time, and it's not. So it's, it seems like they have a kind of a way of what they want to do things. So also, I had a very personal experience in this room.
The house had no electricity in it. The guy had defaulted on the mortgage that owned it prior to me, and it was kind of just like a free-for-all. And I was here kind of saying our goodbyes to the place because we knew it was going to be gone. And we were in the kitchen, and I had a K2 meter, just basic paranormal equipment, and I had started doing some research on the place, and I had found that there was a family here called the Misnicks that lived here after the Dandys for quite some time. We were getting nothing that had to do with the exorcism, nothing that had to do with any families that lived here prior, and I had called out Flo. I said, Flo, are you here with me? And I got this tingly sensation up my arm. The K2 meter in my hand just went off like crazy. And I continued to have a conversation with who I believe is Flo Misnick, who lived in the house after the Dandy family. I asked her to hold my hand. I said, can you hold my hand, Flo, as we walk up the stairs? And the K2 meter stayed lit all the way up the stairs as we went up into the main bedroom. And when I tried to cross over into the Mary's room, which is the room everybody talks about, I lost her. But I've continued to have a connection with her in this house. I feel like she's comfortable with me here, and she comes out and she'll have a conversation with me.
Yeah. So you guys have all heard of the exorcism, the failed exorcism. Yeah. Okay, so this is actually the room that it was performed in, right in the living room. It was a structural exorcism performed by Father Alphonse Trabolt from St. Bonaventure University. While this thing was happening, they said that it sounded like the house was screaming. It was shaking.
The house exorcism that Father Trabolt helped perform in the 70s did not work. It pushed back what was ever here for a little while, but then it came back tenfold. And his advice to the family was to leave, and they did.
And just so I'm not confused, how many people have lived here since the Dandy family?
Well, the thing is the lady that bought it in 1969, she was doing a rent-to-own thing. It was originally 100 acres. So she would rent it, and people would leave, and then she'd rent it again. So she just kept making money off of it throughout all these years.
Gotcha.
We get evidence almost every room in there. In the living room, it seems like you get more of an open conversation. Upstairs seems to be you get that darker entity, that shadowy figure looking out at you from the bedroom. It definitely keeps some cameras on the bedrooms, in the closet upstairs, because we get a lot of stuff going on up there.
This is the room that everybody talks about right here, Mary's room.
Mary's room.
Okay.
I get a very weird feeling going in here. I've slept in every room in this house except for that room.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Only because I don't know, there's just a feeling that comes over me when I go in there, and I just want to get out of there. It's really heavy. Yeah. Like, if you notice on the floor, there's dead flies, dead bugs. They all cultivate to this room. This is where the beehive was, too. All the bees cultivated to this room underneath the floor, 4 feet into the floor. Many psychics have come here and said that there's some type of portal. Nobody's been able to close this portal. It's like an ongoing fluctuation of spirits coming in and out, supposedly.
Have you noticed that from investigating here?
Yeah,
that you're constantly finding new spirits?
We do get a lot of names that make no sense.
Okay.
When we do investigations, we get names that do make sense.
Okay.
So I don't know if they can leave and come back. You know, it's sometimes when we're doing when we have a geoport or a geo box, and we're using type of different new speaker boxes. It sounds like they're having a conversation in a different dimension. Like they're talking to themselves, but they're not acknowledging us sometimes too. It's not just the house. I mean, you're talking the whole property here. Right. Up in the forest, over by the pond, up at the beginning of the street where the hanging tree was. I mean, you guys have your work cut out for you.
The town of Hinsdale was originally one of the largest towns in Cattaraugus County. It was actually burned down. There was an American Indian War that was fought on this land, and then actually Olean ended up being the bigger town because of that. So there's potentially a lot of Native American spirits out here. Could be all over the place, and actually they say that there's Indian burial grounds up on the hill. We've actually caught a picture of an Indian chief in the driveway, of an Indian woman out by the pond, and a lot of the stuff that we do on the outside of the house is offerings to the Indian spirits to try to have our worlds combine when we're here to try to get answers. So if you go up on the hill, you'll notice that there's a tree up there that we have an offering tree. So there's feathers and there's shells and cool things that we, when we're having public events, that we have people bring an offering for the spirits. So it's more of a pleasurable experience for them when they're here as opposed to negative.
We've got a lot of spirits over by the pond. So you guys definitely want to, it seems like the spirits by the pond connect with women more. So maybe somebody, a girl
Yeah,
can go
what-
out there, because it seems like the spirits out there are female spirits. So
So far I've met two. One
you're the psychic then.
was really interested in me helping her, but the minute she started telling me what she wanted me to help her with, the other went shh, really loud, like anybody
Where was
with
this, outside?
outside at the pond. And I asked her if she would come with me inside, and she said she wouldn't come inside.
Yeah, they won't come inside the house.
she wouldn't
What's
come
in the house is in the house. What's outside the house is separate.
I've gone from it's like heavy headaches to total like euphoria. So I don't have one word to describe how I feel about it here. I feel like there's a lot, and I'm feeling a lot of pulls in a lot of different ways. And so I'm definitely gonna need help from my fellow investigators to kind of sort out like where all these different energetics are coming from.
Any advice?
Just stay grounded, stay positive. You know, try to stay as positive as possible, and stay as teams. Don't go. I wouldn't go alone anywhere.
Yeah.
So
I was totally
you guys know what you're
kidding.
doing.
Like,
You know what you're doing. So that's why you're here. So
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for trusting us with this
Yeah,
place
thank
too.
you.
It's-
no problem. It's gonna sound weird, but I kind of feel like this was a calling for me. Like I was put here for a reason. Like everybody has their path in life, and for some reason this is working out for me. And I took a chance on it, and I felt like I needed to. At a time in my life where I just bought my family house 2 weeks prior to this one. So I had to come up with some cash, mad cash, and my wife said I was crazy, but if this is what I wanted to do, to just go for it. I mean, it needed a lot of work. When I stood in front of this house with the weeds as tall as they are behind you, or all around this whole property, looking at the roof, looking at the black mold, looking at everything that needed to be done, I said, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing this. And yeah, I feel like it knows that I'm protecting it. There's so many stories in these walls and outside the walls that need to be told.
People have a tendency to become kind of obsessed with the Hinsdale House. I've seen it personally in a lot of people who've come and visited this place, even people who are just, amateur ghost hunters. They'll come here once and then that's it, and they're here every other weekend. There's something about this house that makes a connection to people that is so strong, they feel themselves being pulled back time and time again.
Tonight, one of the things that I'm really excited about is going in with a blank slate and abandon the term demon, abandon the term negative haunt. Anything can happen, and I'm willing to experience it all.
If we were to find out tonight during our investigation that there really is something completely negative here, something that's malevolent, luckily we have enough people that are all really level-headed. I think that we would know enough to leave the property. We've come with a lot of spiritual tools that we can use to kind of remove attachments. When you have 5 people who are all working together to kind of ground each other and not get too crazy, even if we're faced with something that's that terrifying, I think that we'd be able to pull each other back to some level of reality.
I think tonight could be dangerous if we aren't smart about things. I mean, this could go really well. We could get a lot of really good evidence, or we could let our guard down and start, thinking everything's demonic and, playing tricks on ourselves. We just need to be calm, cool, collected. And
Let's hold for a second. Hello.
do you want to sit with them and watch? There's someone they call Mama Hinsdale. She's kind of the caretaker of the place. She also has a son, and he has abilities that blew my mind. He had been there for a while, and out of nowhere just came over and walked towards me and stood right with me. I kind of hung out with him for a second and told him what I was doing, that, this is a camera, I'm giving just an interview about this. Hey, you want to come over here and sit with them? Come here. You want to sit with them? So he tapped my shoulder, pointed to the window upstairs, and then went. I then asked him if I should go in there, and he drops the smile and... No, I mean, it's one thing to act, but it's another when you can feel that person, like their emotions when they're telling you something or trying to tell you something. And when he went like this, it just wasn't happy. It was terrifying. And then when I asked him if I should go in and he said no like that, I was just like, oh my God.
Because so many people and investigators have had so many intense experiences here at the Hinsdale House, we're going to pre-rate it a 6.5. People have had experiences with things moving around, they've been touched, and there's really an overwhelming sense of dread. So it would definitely fit into that category, but until we actually experience those things for ourselves, we're going to keep an open mind, but we're also going to be a little bit skeptical about the experiences that we have.
Should we submit this story into the Midnight Society?
Yes, let's do it. Haunt Me and Planet Weird. Welcome to the Midnight Society. So Katie, that's a communication opener?
Yep.
Yep, mugwort.
Breathe it in.
I would suggest that if anyone feels uncomfortable tonight, because there's here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Keep this flame alive, throw a log on it, and we'll just keep it burning.
We should. If we see it dying down, why don't we run out for that? This will be the safety spot. We'll run out, take care of it.
This is our center. Keep the flame alive, and we'll do the same.
This whole property feels unsafe. There's nowhere you can go to get away from it. Something that makes me feel safe and comfortable are campfires, and there was an ability to make one out back. I threw logs and sticks together to try to make some place that just kind of felt homey and safe.
I would really love to maybe even like understand some of the things. So like people are getting scratched and things like that. I'd like to go further and understand like why people are getting scratched. Mm-hmm. Like, is this the only way it can communicate? Okay, so scratch me again if this is the only way you can communicate.
I think there's a lot of misunderstanding in paranormal investigation because we're very limited in, we can only see through our own lens, but I'm hoping that we can open maybe a new line of dialogue, maybe one that hasn't been approached before, maybe a new method of communication with them, and see if coming at it from all of those different lenses combine to make some kind of telescope.
I feel like I feel excitement coming from the house. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ty, you get the flashlights?
I do. I forget it's going to be dark inside, isn't it? It smells like camp.
Yeah, we are all going to smell like camp.
Yeah. I love that smell.
Is there somebody on the couch? Should we use this? I mean,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
We're in a haunted house, through and through. That's where we are.
Come on, let's go.
What do we want our goal to be with this altar?
I don't know. My gut is telling me communication.
Right?
Yeah.
Katie, how about you do one of those ones that charge the activity up?
That we could also do.
I was kidding.
No, but you know what?
Why?
Here's the
We
thing.
could do
I
like
think,
a combo.
Listen, if your gut's saying communication, like maybe that's the best place to start because that's how we're going to create a dialogue and understand what the truth of the matter is.
True.
If we start somewhere else, then we're already putting out that vibe. Maybe they're like, oh, well, what do you need protection from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe communication. I mean, that's how all conversations
I'm just
start.
thinking of like an openness, an open dialogue.
I think that's great.
Open.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna actually place an emerald right in the center. Emerald opens up communication between old and new gods and guides. And so I was kind of thinking where we don't necessarily know the types of spirits that live here. Mm-hmm. They could be non-human, they could be other things. We'll open up a communication between like many types. Put a little Apollo on it for niceties. All right. And then maybe some quartz around it to like...
Quartz is always really good because it's basically like a conductor.
Yes.
It'll put out whatever you want it to. It's a sponge, it's a conductor.
Thinking blue to open up throat chakra.
Was that a person over there?
Over here, right? Yeah.
Outside the window or inside?
Inside.
Inside, like on the couch.
On the couch. Yeah.
Are you checking out what we're doing? Maybe someone's seeing what we're doing.
Yeah, do you want to come over
crystals?
and touch some of the crystals? I've got them in my hand.
I just heard something out there.
Yeah.
Out there?
Yeah, and our tech crew heard it too because I watched them look.
Come on, you can come in.
Actually, I'm going to take this.
Okay.
I just had the urge to do
good.
this. So, if there is anyone that would like to come in, just come right over here and step over that green light, please.
Maybe we should introduce ourselves.
Yeah, great idea.
My name's Greg.
I'm Ty.
I'm Carol.
I'm Dana.
I'm Katie.
We've come a really long way. We've kind of met in the middle to come and visit with you for a little while. We just want to hang out and spend some time with you, and we've heard a lot of stories about you, stories that lead us to believe you guys maybe need to say something to somebody, and we want to help you say it.
Yeah, let's be clear. You might hear similar things of like, touch the green light, come into this room, we want to talk to you. So often it might be annoying to you.
Right.
We're not here to do that.
Yeah.
We're different than most of the people that come to talk with you because we're not really interested in how many times you can light up the green light.
Right, we're just trying to start off simple and have like a baseline. So like if you do light that light up, then okay, so you are in here with us and we can start talking to you.
But let's figure out a little bit more about your story and we'll share some of ours. Me, Carol, and Katie.
Somebody just got up off the couch.
Me, Carol, and Katie are from a state called Maine. It's about 9 hours away from here, so we came a long way to come to see you. We've heard a lot of different stories about the people who, might be here that we can't see. So feel free to share some of your information and we'll sprinkle some of our information throughout the night.
We just want to understand you. We want to understand you, and we want to share your story, your real story. Maybe the one that isn't shared very much. I just saw somebody.
I can hear somebody out there.
Yeah, I just saw somebody. I don't know if anybody else is paying attention, but they just walked behind the monitor.
Behind the monitor?
Yeah.
Into the baby carriage room?
No, the other way, from the baby carriage room.
To the back, towards the bathroom?
Yeah.
You know how sometimes when we just yell hello, that works?
Yeah.
I just had the urge to do it.
Do it.
Hello?
Something happened upstairs. Do it again.
Hello?
I just realized you're building that directly
Under the vent.
Oh my god.
Hey, cool. Maybe it'll shoot up.
Yeah, that energy's gonna spiral right up.
Look right down onto it. We'll be able to see that when we're upstairs.
Very cool.
Is somebody looking at it right now?
That wasn't you guys?
No.
I wonder if anyone's done something like this before in this house since the 70s.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us? Has anybody ever pulled out crystals like this in this house before? Do you know what we're up to? Does it feel good to you?
Did anybody else hear anything over there?
There is definitely somebody in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I only heard that
Without
original
question.
first noise.
I'm not needed here. I'm gonna go to the kitchen.
I made eye contact with something.
Even though we didn't want to separate because it's really scary here. I thought having everybody all in the same spot in this house, even though it's kind of small, would be overkill. We were hearing bumps and cracks come out from there, and then it was a perfect spot that we could hear a little bit of the outside, we could hear up the stairs, and we could hear the kitchen.
For me, it's not like a spirit. It's not really. It's my own father. Shh, listen.
Yep.
Right over here.
Yep.
You heard that?
Yep.
It's moving behind us.
Behind us.
There's something moving around
It's
in here.
behind Dana and I.
My ears are ringing.
Do you want to whisper in our ear? something that is going to help ease your tension?
The door's creaking again.
Are you causing the tension? Does this grid make you uncomfortable? Do we make you uncomfortable?
Is the K2 going off?
Yeah.
Yep, it is. Would you let us help you?
There's knocks upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so strange. Sound is strange in here.
Yeah.
We didn't hear anything.
We didn't hear anything.
Above us is the crawl space.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Are you hiding? You don't have to hide from us. We're not gonna hurt you or try and make you leave.
There's knocks in this room.
Oh.
We're having a lot of
I
noise.
hear the little popping sounds. Yeah.
Yeah, come on in. The energy just changed in this room.
We're having like footsteps in here.
Yeah, the energy just shifted in this room too. I guess it would now be a good time for like DR60 since there's so many people in here.
Let me go grab it.
I like using the DR60 normally in our arsenal. I try not to use it too much because I think that it can end up being kind of a crutch for a lot of investigations. In a pinch, it's probably the closest thing that we have to one-on-one contact back and forth.
I know you've seen him before, but in case you haven't, there's a little red light on this box. And if you talk into this light, we can hear you a lot better. The only thing that I ask is that you really think really hard when you talk to us. I'm gonna put this on the table, and then for 30 seconds, we want you to tell us anything we need to know before we start to have a conversation with you. If you're ready, I'm gonna turn it on. Just talk into that little red light.
Well, listen.
Yeah.
It shut it off?
No, it didn't shut it off, but it...
All right, let's hear that again.
Whisper of a voice.
Yes.
It doesn't sound great.
It doesn't sound great.
It doesn't sound great.
Carol just literally said the equivalent of that. Like,
Really? What did it say?
It's an echo at the end.
it sounds like it says, "Get out." Okay.
One more?
I hear.
It's okay. I think I might hear.
This is what I hear. I hear, "Get out of my house, little boy." Play and listen. I could be totally wrong, but it just sounds like that to me.
I heard get out.
Stereotypical get out.
I heard get out too, and I didn't want to say anything because I don't want it to be stereotypical.
But it could,
Dan said they get that all the time.
Yeah.
oh, that's right.
But Dan also said that you listen to them talking to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right, let's ask some questions.
Okay.
I'm gonna put this thing down there this time because maybe It just doesn't want to get very close.
Yeah, I could just not want to. Yeah, for sure.
All right, here we go. All right, let's try that one more time. We'll give you a little extra time this time. I get it. It'd be a little uncomfortable when people are too close. Can you tell us your name?
Can you tell us what year it is?
Do you know anyone from the Dandy family?
Do you need our help or anyone's help?
Do you remember Ed and Lorraine Warren?
I don't have a question for a person. I have a question for the house.
Oh, that was me.
I want to talk to the house. Can you tell me your name?
House, what do people call you? House, why do you draw people back here? House, what do you need from us tonight?
Let's listen.
That thing held
Seeing
red.
those things, solid red light.
My God, I am like screaming inside. I'm doing everything I can not to freaking lose my mind.
Let's see if the house has anything to say.
I still am screaming about this questioning of the house.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
that might be
It's
the
everything.
key.
It's everything. It like when it started happening, I wanted to rip my chest open. Like yeah, like it was like yes, that's right.
Everything changed when we started doing that.
Changed.
The cold breeze is back.
We're on the right track, kind
Yeah.
of changing.
All right, here we go.
Me on the couch, I think. Yep. Okay.
It's already talking. You hear it?
Yeah. A tone.
It's yelling.
Wait, who's laughing?
Yelling.
Who's laughing too? Listen for a laugh.
Yeah.
I can't hear.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Super
Did you
clear.
hear that?
Super clear, like human clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, get in here, Dana.
Dana.
Get in here.
Right?
Person.
That's a person.
No, that's what I meant by like a vocal tone.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can
Yes.
hear the
That's not
vocal
scratchy.
It's not
That's a completely
scratchy.
new
Yeah.
voice.
cords. Ha ha.
But that was also making a joke about how it's uncomfortable being too close to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it matters.
Yeah.
It's a male. Male
Yep.
or
sure.
assuming male form.
All right. Let's keep going.
That was fantastic.
What is the poop is happening?
That was a full on. Do you hear? that?
Yeah. Where these cameras get closer?
Did it say no? Yes. Oh, do you know what's crazy? When you asked that question, I got chills. I was like,
I actually was afraid to ask it.
when you asked it, I was like, shit's about to get lit.
Dana just turned this to the real world. She just dropped the bomb.
it's me. I freaked out.
I want to talk to the house. Can you tell me your name? House, what do people call you? House, why do you draw people back here? House, what do you need from tonight?
Energy.
So clear. It's so clear.
Camera people, hold on to yourselves if you get tired tonight.
Oh my
We're taking you
God.
outside.
I am like,
Let's go get the fire out.
Yeah,
Come on.
let's do that.
So there's been a theme that started to pop up since all of us putting a little piece of our fear into a box and making a big nasty baby out of it. Dane and I have been thinking about a way to karmically undo that. We're gonna call it the Well of Intentions.
That's